Okay, let's get started. We'll move for about 30 minutes and we'll meditate for about 20 minutes. This is gentle yoga. Gentle yoga means your attitude towards your movements, your poses. And yoga is always bound up and bound together. There's this physical motion part of yoga, and there's this meditation part of yoga. And those two things, they kind of seem like they're opposites, but actually they're just part of, they just kind of circle around each other. And they're connected by a big long piece. So if you're bringing your hand up here, this is your movement practice. This is your meditation practice. And then glide back. This is your movement practice. This is your meditation practice. They're always connected. And they're connected with your breath. So bring your hands together. And so one hand is your yoga practice, your physical practice. The other hand is your meditation practice. And let's just do this for a little bit. Inhale and bring our hands out away from each other. And exhale, bring your hands back towards each other. Physical practice and mental practice coming together in one spot here. Inhaling to stretch your arms out. Maybe take your arms all the way out to T. Exhale and bring your hands together. Press your left hand into your right hand. Press your palms. Press your fingers together. Inhale to stretch. Cross your chest. This time lift your gaze. Exhale, bring your hands back together and press your palms together, your fingers together. Inhale to press your left hand down onto your left thigh. Press your right arm up. Exhale, your right hand comes down. Press your right hand down into your right thigh. Inhale to press your left arm up. Stretch. Exhale and place your left hand in your lap. Be deliberate with your fingers. Notice sensation. Inhale to press up with your right arm. Press your palm as if you were pressing your palm towards that. Make it even with the surface that's above you. Exhale and take your right hand into your lap. Press your fingers in. Inhale one more time. Lift your left palm, stretch up, and have your palm match the flame that's above you, the ceiling. And your left hand comes back down into your lap. Now take the backs of your hands to your legs and slide the backs of your hands and the backs of your fingers along your legs. Wrap the back of your right hand around, wrap your arm around, and press your back into your back of your hand and press the back of your hand into your back or your side. Take your left hand across over toward your right shoulder and tilt your left ear toward your left shoulder. Give yourself a soft inhale and exhale and encourage a lot of breath to come into your body. Lift your head, unwrap your arms, take your arms out in front of you and place your palms face up in your lap. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And take the back of your left hand and slide your left hand around. Stretch around behind you, maybe reaching for the outside of your hip. And take your right hand over towards your left shoulder. And this time, instead of tilting, you're going to turn your gaze past your left shoulder. And now unwrap your arms. Your right arm comes around behind you. Your left hand comes toward your right shoulder and turn your gaze. And wrap your arms one more time. Hand across and tilt. Let's tilt the other way. Right ear towards right shoulder. Your left hand settles down. Okay, that's all the combinations. And take your arms out in front of you. Cross your arms in front of your chest. Hold on to your opposite shoulders and take a big circle with your torso around one direction. Glide around. Engaging the muscles of your sides and your back and your belly. And then take your torso in a circle around the other way. Glide around. Notice which muscles are working, which muscles are stretching, which muscles are soft. Take your hands to your opposite elbows, lift your forearms, up toward your forehead. Exhale, take your left hand down onto your floor. Stretch your right arm up and over. Then press your palm up and over. Your right arm comes out and wraps underneath your left arm. Hold your opposite shoulders and lean forward. You could take your elbows all the way down to the floor if they do that. Pressing down into your legs, lifting yourself up, take your arms out and up and overhead. And exhale, your right hand come down and stretch your left arm up and over. Inhale to lift up and wrap your left arm underneath your right. You can hold your opposite shoulders or wrap your arms around each other and lean forward. And maybe your forearms come to your mat. Maybe your head comes down. Or maybe you're hanging a bit higher. Lifting yourself up, back to seated, unwrap your arms. Take your fingertips back behind you and lift your chest. So this is sometimes called a back bend, this move. And sometimes it's called a chest opener or heart opener. See if any of those names resonate with you. If you can feel this as a back bend or feel it as a chest opener or a heart opener, and you're allowing yourself to that open kind of idea, that's to give you more space to breathe. Give yourself more space to breathe. And if you don't feel more space to breathe, then can you change this to give yourself more support? So you have more space to breathe. One more inhale and exhale. And then stick your legs out in front of you and move through your feet and your toes. Pick up your knees, put your hands at the backs of your knees and walk your heels a little bit closer toward you. Lean back and pick up your right leg and stretch your right leg, lengthen your right leg, and place your right heel back down. Bring your torso close toward your thighs. Lift up and lean back, pick up your left heel, stretch your left leg, lengthen your left leg. Your left heel comes back down. Lean forward. Inhale to lift up, walk your feet back and float your feet off of your mat and bring your shins parallel to the floor and then cross your left ankle over your right, hook your right foot underneath your left. You can keep holding on just like this, or you can take your arms up overhead and then bring your arms over towards the right and your legs to the left. Sweep your knees and your arms through center. Bring your knees and your feet over towards the right and your arms over towards the left. Bring your arms and your legs back through center. Unhook your feet, hook the other way. Bring your feet over towards the right, your arms towards the left. Reach your arms overhead, your legs come through center. Reach your arms over towards the right and your legs to the left. Arms come up overhead, uncross your soles of your feet together, your knees wing out to the sides. Now hook your fingers over the fronts of your ankles, wiggle your sit bones back, and hinge forward. And come forward literally any amount at all. Give yourself stretching and let yourself breathe and give yourself a little bit more support. Take your left hand over towards your right ankle. Your right arm wraps around behind you. Turn and look past your shoulder. Switch your sides. Your right hand comes across over toward your left ankle. Connect your hand and your ankle, and then wrap your left arm around behind your body. Can you sense and notice any sensation that you're experiencing behind your back? Can you notice the difference between your arm and your back and sensation of pressure, perhaps, or temperature? Unwrap your left arm, place your hands, and assist your knees back towards each other. Wrap your arms around your legs and bring your torso toward your thighs and look down at your big toes. Lift your torso up, cross your legs underneath you, and come onto your stomach all the way down. Prop yourself up onto your forearms. Bring yourself into Sphinx Pose. Walk your feet out a little bit, your knees out a little bit towards the edges of your mat. Curl each one of your fingers individually as much as possible in towards the centers of your palms. You can look at your hands, your fingers, connect your thumbs to your index fingers, and then take your thumbs up into the thumbs up, and then unfurl your index finger, your middle finger, your ring finger, and your pinky finger. So you're spreading out your palms, turn your palms up towards the ceiling, Press down into your elbows, lift your chest a little. Bring your left shoulder forward, turn your gaze past your right shoulder, bend your right knee, bring your heel up toward your hip. Change sides, square your shoulders. Your left heel comes up toward your left hip, and your right shoulder comes forward, and turn your gaze back towards your left heel. Untwist. Your left leg comes down. Wiggle your hands on either side of your chest. Slide your elbows back next to your torso. Squeeze your glutes a little, tuck your tailbone a little, point your toes a little, lift your chest a little. Bring your gaze down the tip of your nose and lengthen the back of your neck. Breathe softly here. Inhale and exhale. And tuck your toes under and push yourself into plank. So plank can look like lots of things. Your plank might look like this, might look like a table. Plank might look like this, your arms straight and one leg back. You might be on your knees, your forearms, your knees, or your forearms and your toes. For straight arms, you've been in plank for a while now, so here we are. Give yourself one more moment in your plank. And move yourself into downward facing dog. This looks like a triangle with your body. Your hips are the top of the triangle. Your hands and feet are the bottom 2 points of your triangle. And let your head drop down, wiggle out, bend your knees one at a time, lengthen your spine. Start to walk your feet towards each other. Let your knees come back down toward your mat and glide through cat and cow. You're tucking your tailbone under and lifting your tailbone and moving through your spine. Place your left hand underneath your face and take your right elbow up towards the ceiling. Glide your right arm underneath you. Your right ear and your right shoulder come down towards the mat. And then you can take your left arm and wrap your left arm around behind you. Or thread the needle. Put your left hand in front of your face. Push yourself back up through table. Tuck your toes under and let your hips move back toward your heels. Slide your left arm forward. Your right hand comes back toward your knee. Stretch out your left shoulder. Lift up a little, switch your arms. Your right arm slides forward. Your left hand comes back toward your knee. Lean forward. Inhale to glide back through center. Move through cat and cow. And take your right hand in front of your face, down on your mat. Your left elbow points up and your left arm glides through. Your left ear and your left shoulder come down towards your mat. And breathe softly. For thread the needle, remember we wrapped our arms around behind last time, so take the back of your right hand and maybe place your hand on your sacrum, on your tailbone. And notice sensation, and perhaps you start to wiggle your arm a little bit tighter around you, so you give yourself more connection on more parts of the skin of your arm, more parts, skin of your back. Your right hand comes in front of your face. Push yourself up through table, roll through cat and cow. Walk yourself forward in upward facing dog. Then cross your legs underneath you. Come back into boat pose. Here on your hips, your legs stretch. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Hinge forward into forward fold. Inhale to sit tall. Scoot yourself towards the top of your mat. Reach forward and hook your thumbs and lower yourself down onto your back. So we were on our bellies before, now we're on our backs. Bring your arms long down by your sides, roll through your feet. Gather up your legs with your hands and pull your knees in toward your chest. Put your hands on the fronts of your legs and stretch your legs up towards the ceiling. Press out through your heels, your toes, or toward your shins. Reach your fingers up toward your toes. You can hook your fingers over the bottoms of your big toes and lengthen and stretch through the backside of your body, and then bring the soles of your feet towards each other. Let your knees wing out to the sides. Hook your fingers over the fronts of your ankles and encourage stretch This upside down cobbler's pose. And put your hands on the outsides of your knees, assist your knees towards each other, lift your heels and roll yourself up to seated. You could, if you're feeling kind of athletic and you want to, roll yourself all the way up to squat and then stand. Once you stand, you can roll your shoulders a couple times. Bring your hands together in front of your chest. Shift your weight onto your left foot. Take your right foot back behind you. Bend into your front knee. Take your torso forward and then over and around and back. And take your torso forward. Bring your hands down to your front shin and straighten your front leg. Bring your fingers down toward your mat. Bend and straighten a couple times. And step together at the top of your mat. Put your hands on the fronts of your shins. Lengthen your spine. Sit down in a chair pose with your hands together and stand tall. Shift your weight onto your right foot and step your left foot back. Bring your torso in a big circle forward towards your front leg, around and back and forward. Take your hands to your front leg, straighten your front leg and tilt into pyramid pose. Inhale to bend your front knee and lift yourself up, and then take your hands down towards your mat. Bend and straighten a couple times. Step together at the top of your mat. Inhale to half lift. Exhale to chair pose. This time sweep your arms back behind you. Bring your hands together in front of your chest. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Step your left foot back. Hinge into half splits. Your back knee bends, your front leg is straight. Inhale to lift your torso. Bring your arms back behind you. Lift your leg that's in front of you and bring it back behind you. Come into dancer pose. Your arms reach back, your chest lifts, your back foot might drift up towards your hip. And stepping back, coming into half splits. Your left heel is on the floor, your toes are up, your hands are together in front of your chest, and hinge. Your right knee bends. Inhale to lift, and take your front leg and glide it back. You're coming into dancer pose, so your foot might be on the floor, your knee might be bent. Step together at the back of your mat. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Take your hands down the fronts of your legs, sliding forward into forward fold. Bend your knees, bring yourself down into table, glide through cat and cow. Shift your weight onto your left knee, step your right foot forward along your mat. Turn yourself towards the long edge of your mat, press your hands down, and straighten yourself into wide-legged straddle. Your feet are approaching out towards the edges of your mat. You can let your hips lean left and right. You can bend one knee and the other knee. Keep your right hand down in front of your face. Take your left arm up towards the ceiling. Wrap your left arm around behind your body and turn and look past your left shoulder. Unwrap and reach your left hand down towards your left foot. See if you can hold on to your big toe with your middle and index finger and thumb. And take your right arm back towards the right. Your right hand comes down, your left hand comes down onto your mat. Your right arm reaches up and wraps around behind you. Now, does your hand have to be on the mat? No, of course not. Your hand could be on your leg. Your hand could be in the air, out to the side. Remember that you're choosing things that are best for you. So you can bend into your right knee a little bit more, turn and look. And unwrap. Bring both hands back down towards your mat. You can bend into one knee and bend into the other knee. And reach down and see if you can hold on to your right big toe with your middle and index finger and thumb. And turn your gaze past your left shoulder. Both hands come back down towards your mat. Bend your knees and lift yourself into stand. Stand all the way up. Sweep your arms out to T. Exhale, take your right hand over towards your left hand and point over towards left toes. Your back heel dials up and bend into your back knee. So you're sinking into warrior one. A little bit extra challenge. Straighten your back leg, turn back towards the long edge of your mat and hinge forward once again. This time keep your back flat. Your hands are together in front of your chest. Bend your knees and lift your torso. Turn both sets of toes over towards the right. Your back heel dials up. Your back knee bends. Sink down. A little bit extra work, a little bit extra balance. Straighten your legs. Turn both sets of your toes towards the long edge of your mat and hinge forward once again. Now this time, take your fingers out towards your big toes and maybe hook your fingers over your big toes. Bend your elbows out to the sides and let your torso drop down. Now, if your fingers don't comfortably come to your toes, then gosh, you've got lots of options. You can have your hands on the floor. You can have your hands on the fronts of your legs. You could reach your fingers up towards the ceiling, arms out to the sides. You get the idea. You have the choice. You have the option. Listen and breathe and pay attention. Release your big toes if you had a grip on your toes. And start to walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. You can turn, place your hands down at the top of your mat and slide yourself back into any plank. You have lots of options for plank. Doesn't have to look like any one kind of plank. You're choosing the best one for you right now. And let both of your knees come back down toward your mat. Roll through cat and cow. Then stretch yourself into downward facing dog. Your hands and feet are on your mat. Your hips are pointing up to where the wall and the ceiling meet. Your head comes in line. Let your head roll around and wiggle out your feet a little bit and spread your fingers wide and lift and lower your heels. Walk your feet towards each other. Take your right leg back behind you for a three-legged dog and curl your right knee underneath you. Step your right foot forward. Let your back knee come down and lengthen yourself back into half splits. So your hips move back, your right leg's in front of you. Focus on stretching your leg that's in front of you. And walk forward, tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee and glide back into downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet, move your head around. Stretch your left leg back behind you. Your left leg comes forward. Stepping in between your hands, your back knee comes down and glide back into half splits. So your torso is hinging over your front leg is stretching. Rock forward, plant your hands. Step back to downward facing dog. Pedal your feet one more time. Roll your head around. Let your knees come down. Cross your legs underneath you. Stick your legs out in front of you. Reach down and hold on to your left leg. Drag it back toward you and draw circles with your leg, with your knee, with your foot. Cross your left leg over your right leg and slide your hands down. Any amount. Slide your hands back up. Gather your left leg and your arms. Draw little circles and place your left leg on its own side. Reach down and hold on to your right leg. Draw little circles. Cross your right leg over your left leg and slide forward any amount. Lift up and take your right leg with you as you draw little circles. And stretch your right leg forward. Bend your left knee, point it up towards the ceiling. Hook your right hand underneath your left leg. And turn and look past your left shoulder. Untwist, stretch your left leg out in front of you, roll through your feet. Bend your right knee. Hook your left arm underneath your right leg. Snug it in towards your center. And turn and look past your right shoulder. Untwist. Face forward. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Roll through your feet. And scooch up towards the top of your mat. Roll your feet. Press your feet down into your mat. Hold behind your legs. And reach your arms forward. Start to roll yourself down onto your back. Pause once you get about halfway. Then lift yourself up. Bring your torso forward. Then glide back. This time pause when you're in half boat. So your head, neck, and shoulders are curled up. Your hands reaching down towards your knees. You can either hold on or pull yourself back all the way up to seated. And we'll go one more. Come back to boat. And then lower to half boat. Then lower all the way down onto your back. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. For figure 4, rock your knee forward and back. Now reach down and hold on to your right leg with both of your hands and rock from side to side. And place your right ankle back on top of your left knee and let your legs swing over towards the right. So your left knee wings into the side and your right ankle is on top of your knee. That might feel like too much, in which case you just unhook and let your legs hang over with gravity. If you're unhooked, hook yourself back up, roll yourself back to center, point your nose up, stick your right leg up towards the ceiling, bring your arms long down by your sides, press down into your left foot and lift your hips. Any amount, it could be this tiny, tiny amount. Lift and squeeze and stretch and breathe and lower your hips back down. Let's try the other side, crossing or bringing your left knee in toward your chest and hold on. And draw little circles with your knee and with your ankle. You can place your ankle on the top of your right knee and bring your legs in toward your chest and rock from side to side. Then your right foot comes back down if it's in the air, and then you're letting your hips, your knees, glide over towards the left. So when you do that, you're paying close attention to how your right knee feels. And your right knee gets veto power. So if it seems like it's too much, unhook your left foot and just let your legs hang over with gravity. That still might be too much. This is a kind of unusual position for your legs to be, so you can always just let your legs kind of point up towards the ceiling and keep encourage that concept, that idea of gentle yoga. You're giving yourself more support. It might still be a challenge, but it's more of like it's your attitude, giving yourself a little bit extra. Let's untwist, bring yourselves back through. Center your legs, come back through center and straighten your spine, straighten your neck, straighten your shoulders. Bring your arms long down by your sides. Plant your palms down, walk your heels a little bit closer toward you. Press down into your feet, squeeze your glutes a little, and lift your hips. Rock your head, right ear down towards the mat. Turn your nose up, rock your head, other direction. Your left ear comes down toward your mat. Point your nose up, lift your chin slightly, and tuck your tailbone, roll your hips back down. Place your hands on the tops of your legs and glide your knees into your hands and hook your fingers over the fronts of your knees and draw little circles, both directions. And plop your feet down onto your mat. Put your hands on the top of your stomach. Your middle fingertips touch. Start to get more in contact with your breath as you're inhaling and exhaling. First of all, you notice that you're breathing. Then start to notice how you're breathing. Does your breath seem any particular way to you? Are there words or shapes or colors or scents that might help describe your breath to you? And you can only know this by paying attention to your breath, by listening to your breath, by slowing down enough to be able to listen to your breath. Now your hands are on the top of your stomach, encouraging your breath in your belly. Start to slide one hand up toward your rib cage and take your other arm down by your side with your palm facing up. And see if you can discern both of your hands at the same time. Your arm resting down by your side with your palm facing up, and your arm next to your body with your hand pressing down softly with gravity on your rib cage. And gradually switch your hands. So your other hand is on your rib cage, low ribs. The other arm comes down by your side with your palm facing up. See if you can discern both hands at the same time. And then finally bring your hands one on top of the other. That might not work exactly with the length of your arms and how you feel right now. So, however, as close to that as you want to come. Take 3 full inhales and exhales. On your third exhale, swallow to release your throat. Rock your head a little bit from left to right, ear to ear. Start to rearrange your body in a more comfortable way. So you might be perfectly comfortable as you are. And if you are, fantastic. And if you're not, how can you change to give yourself a little more ease, even just a few percentage points of more ease? So that might be straightening your legs, or it might be laying on your side or your belly. Keeping in mind that whenever you give yourself more ease, that doesn't mean that it's going to stay easeful forever. Because one ice cream cone is great, and 20 ice cream cones, not so much. When you're giving yourself an easeful position, just give yourself the option that you might want to change after a little bit, and that is okay. So once you've given yourself your first, at least, comfortable position, as comfortable as possible, start to notice your face. Notice how much you can move your face. If you lift and lower your eyebrows, squeeze your center of your forehead in towards your center and release it. Wiggle the sides of your eyes and open and close your eyes with your eyelids. Minutely move your cheeks around. You can move your chin and start to move your inside of your mouth. So you can let your tongue come up and touch the roof of your mouth. You can glide your tongue across your teeth, upper and lower. You can touch your tongue to your lips just slightly. And start to move your tongue around. You can take the top of your tongue and turn it to one side and the other side down on the insides of your lower gums. And swallow and release your throat and move your head a little bit and notice your neck. You could take 1 or 2 fingers and bring them to the little notch at the base of your neck. And you could feel muscles and your blood vessels and things that are at the sides of your neck. Take a big soft inhale and let your whole head and your neck be the focus of your attention and your awareness. Exhale and let your muscles of your head and your neck soften up and melt a little bit. Now you've been here just a little bit. Give yourself more ease. Try changing your position a little bit. See if you can roll a little bit more in towards yourself and give yourself a little bit more comfort. Keep breathing softly and deeply. And start to connect your body and your mind with your breath as you inhale and you exhale. So your mind follows your breath and your body creates your breath, your physical breath. Keep breathing and keep noticing the connection between your physical body and your mental body. Now give yourself one more opportunity to even more ease in your body. You can take another scan of your body and maybe just settle in teensy, even just a couple percentage points more. Start to notice your inhales and your exhales more deeply. When you inhale, say to yourself, I am. And we exhale, say to yourself, here. So stay right here. Keep lying exactly as you're lying. Keep giving yourself more ease, more comfort. I'm going to sit up. You also could sit up if you wanted to, but perhaps you're still getting a little more deeply into your position that is supporting your well-being as best you can. Inhale and say to yourself, I am. And exhale and say to yourself, right here, I am. Right here. And invite those aspects of yourself, your intellectual self and your physical self, connected by your breath. Invite them to also be right here. Bring your attention, your awareness, your mind to right now. And notice your body and give yourself the practice that makes sense for you right now in the body that you have right now. Inhaling, I am. Exhaling, right here. Let's see if you can go one more layer deeper into giving yourself a little more ease and comfort. It might require a change of position, or it might be just an extra long exhale that gives you a little bit more softness. Maybe there's a wiggle you haven't tried yet, or maybe you're noticing all of a sudden that your toes and your feet are a little bit tight. You could wiggle your ankles and you could move your jaw and you could release your palms and your fingers, and you could get a little bit more, a tiny bit more soft. Keep saying to yourself, I am right here. And then allow yourself to let it be a little less serious. Invite your body and your thoughts and your mind and your breath to ease up a little bit, to hang out, to do nothing. It might feel a little alien at first. And if it does, and it's not a discomfort that you want to look at right now, you can go back to this practice. I am right here. You could go back to the practice of feeling your breath and your body. You can go back to the practice of noticing the inside of your mouth. So you have lots of different practices now to choose from. And you're free to use any technique that you wish to listen and to offer yourself ease. Take 3 more breaths like this, allowing yourself to drift a little bit, to simultaneously hold space for the work and the not work, the work of doing no work. Two more inhales and exhales like this. And take a big soft inhale and squeeze up your face, your shoulders, your fingers, your hips. You can just activate your muscles wherever you are. Squeeze your feet and your toes and exhale and sink a little bit. Release the squeeze. Inhale, say to yourself, I am. And exhale, say to yourself, right here. So now again, big soft inhale breath. Retain your breath and squeeze up your face, your shoulders, your hands, your back, your hips, your legs, your feet, and your toes. Squeeze and squeeze and squeeze and release your squeeze. Exhale, release your squeeze. Slowly, you can start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, start to move your wrists and your ankles. Take the pads of your thumbs and slide your thumbs across your other fingertips. Roll yourself around and move yourself around. Gradually, you can roll yourself over onto one side unless you're already on your side, in which case you can stay there. Roll over onto your side and pause there for a moment. And gradually start to bring yourself back up to seated. Once you get back up to seated, let yourself glide from left to right. You can arrange your legs however you want to, wrapped up or bent or straight out in front of you. You're letting your torso lean from left to right. When you lean your torso over towards the left, bring your gaze past your right shoulder. When you lean your torso over towards the right, bring your gaze past your left shoulder. Lean your torso over towards the left, bring both hands over toward your right hip. Lean your torso over towards the right, bring both hands over toward your left hip. Bring your torso so you're sitting tall, lifting through the crown of your head. Take one hand up towards the top of your head and slide your hand across your forehead. You can smooth your forehead out. Slide your hand up over the top of your head, to the back of your head, to the top of your left shoulder. Your hand rests on your shoulder. Your right ear tilts toward your right shoulder. And lift your head and take your right hand up and smooth your forehead with your right hand. Slide your hand down towards the back of your head, towards the top of your head, towards your shoulder, and tilt your left ear toward your left shoulder, increasing stretch in your right shoulder. Lift your head, place your hands in your lap, palms facing up, and tilt your right ear toward your right shoulder and your left ear toward your left shoulder. And do that a couple of times. And you can do any kind of other movements you want to. If you want to lift your shoulders or let your back and come along for the ride as you glide from left to right. And then sit tall, hold your rounds of your kneecaps with your fingers and lean back. Notice the shape of your fingers, the shape of your kneecaps with your fingers. You can kind of glide them around. Notice anything else about your knees that you want to take note of and be aware of. And lean back and stretch out through your spine. Tuck your chin slightly. Take a big soft inhale breath through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. And again, inhale through your nose. And exhale through your mouth. And one more time, inhale. And exhale. Sink in a little bit and let your body sink into your mat a little bit and let your back soften up a little bit. Bring your shoulders forward. You can bring your chin forward a little. And take stock. Notice all the parts of your body. Notice your intellectual mind and your physical body and your breath, connecting the two. Notice how your inhales and your exhales facilitate all kinds of things: thought, sound, movement, oxygen, release. Notice if there's anything that occurred to you during class or that you felt that you wanted to remember or think of again. There might not be anything, but there might be. If there is some physical sensation or thought or emotion or pattern that you notice that you'd like to bring with you to next class or even take off your mat and examine at some point on your own, just file that away or hold it in your mind's eye so that you can remember that you'd like to explore that a little more. I take one hand to your heart and the other hand over that hand. Feel your heart beating, slightly tuck your chin. Gaze down at the mat in front of you. Acknowledge your practice, the time that you take to practice. Acknowledge the time that you take to use this tool of yoga, to recognize where you are in space, to recognize and practice balance, to recognize and practice listening to your body, being gentle, to practice paying attention to your mind and your thoughts, and giving yourself the time for respite from those things, to have quiet. Namaste. Thanks so much for practicing with me. If you have any questions, please ask. You can ask in the chat during class, or you can send a message to comebackyoga.org. We're always happy to hear from you. And we look forward to seeing you during our live stream classes and in our in-person classes sprinkled around town. You can look up on our website to see where those are. If you have any questions, please let us know. Take care. Thanks so much.